There
Yeah. There we go.
we go. Right. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our sort of last formal workshop of the programme for cohorts 3, 4, 5 and 6. So great to have you all along this afternoon. What we're hoping to do this afternoon, I'll just do a wee recap of what we did a couple of weeks ago. And then we're going to hear from Yvonne, who's going to just take us through sort of the second part of the travel trade portfolio and a bit more information on that. And then I thought what we'd do, if this is okay with you, just spend a wee bit of time talking about, you know, the sort of the future of the groups. It's come up time and time again, and the number of the one-to-ones that myself and Sandra have been doing, just about, you know, how do we maintain sort of networking, how do we look at ongoing partnerships and collaborations. So it's just a theme that has emerged. So I thought maybe we could have a wee chat about that and maybe just get some of your views that we can feed in and sort of take that on board. And then there's just a few actions going forward in terms of the sort of next steps, one-to-one sessions and a workshop we've got coming up on the 16th of March. In terms of where we got to the last time on the workshop, obviously we had Yvonne, who gave us a sort of introduction to the travel trade. And again, this is just an important part of your marketing activity, and you're engaging with different parts of the tourism industry. And we're going to obviously hear a bit more about that this afternoon, which we're looking forward to. We also just had a wee bit of a chat about some of the digital marketing trends that were sort of starting to emerge for 2022. And I shared some stuff that was sort of hot off the press from Hootsuite. I don't know if you follow them on LinkedIn, but there's been quite a lot of good data appearing there. So I'll just admit, Frida.
Okay, that fair. It's okay.
Sorry. And then, yeah, just some sort of some ideas in terms of your digital content plans and working in your social media. And I think we shared some tools and just some examples. And I think on a personal note, I think it's just been quite encouraging. The number of chats I've had with people through the one-to-ones has been about, you know, getting your web either up for the first time or getting it refreshed. The number of conversations I've had with people moving on to a sort of a bookability and booking system this year, again, is just really great, because that's where we need to be as an industry. So that's been really encouraging. And also from just social media, people just obviously getting more of a handle on what they need to do. Some people are, you know, looking to partner with somebody who can deliver that, but it's all about just using your social media channels and pushing content out there that starts to broaden your reach with your customer base, etc. So if I'm sort of personally just looking in, it's just great to get that sort of feedback from the people that I've managed to have the one-to-ones with so far. So I think that's great for the program as well, in terms of hopefully we're adding a wee bit of value. So that was just a bit of a recap on where we got to a couple of weeks ago. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and Yvonne's. I think that's us. I'm going to just jump on again and share my.
It's champagne time for Yvonne now.
Champagne time for Yvonne. Sorry, Yvonne. Sorry. Thank you very much again for your input this afternoon.
I'm going to stay on if that's okay.
Yeah. Sorry. So you're not leaving, right? Yeah. So you can. Yeah. So let me just.
The champagne's not cold yet.
Is it all right? Okay. I'll share my screen. Okay. So I thought we'd just take the last sort of 10 minutes or so. This is more really to get your input. So once I've just had a wee blether here, if you want to take your mutes off and just let's have a blether about it. One of the things obviously going forward is just getting some thoughts in place about sort of legacy partnerships. You know, we've obviously mobilized and created a lot of traction over the last 2 years in terms of creating groups, getting groups starting to work together. Yes, it's predominantly been online apart from Bagadooish, but it started to create a bit of traction. So one of the things we've been mulling over is just about, that's one of the feedbacks that I've had a lot in the one-to-ones, is about like just ongoing, you know, support and, you know, future networking events, probably at a regional level, you know, something that can keep that momentum going. There's been discussions about, you know, I was speaking to Mike Dunthorne last week, I think it was. He's just opened up a or he's in the process of opening up a new operation in Fort William. So he's like looking for that sort of facilitation where he can get to sort of get involved locally with the outdoor sector in Fort William. And it's all about that operational working together and getting to know people well enough so that if you're stuck one day and you might need to help people out, or can you help with this, that there's, you know, at that level of operation as well. One of the other, Sky Safari, have just recently done an acquisition down in Oban, I think it is, bought a company. I think you might have seen that maybe in some of the press releases in the last couple of weeks. So there's things happening within the region that I think it's important in terms of just how we can maybe keep some things going. There's also talk about sort of regional leadership or regional ambassadors as an idea that's just been banding around. And I'm not saying we're looking for 5 or 6 regional ambassadors this afternoon, but it's more just a thought that's out there. We've obviously created the little WhatsApp group, which I think has worked reasonably well in terms of creating a wee bit of synergy between yourselves. And it's a vehicle for myself and Stuart and Yvonne just to quickly share things with you as we find out information, especially with a lot of the funding programs that were coming out from the government in the last couple of years. So this is sort of unstructured, if that's okay, but I'll come out of this now. And it was more just to get a wee bit of chat going in terms of what are your thoughts, what feelings do you maybe have about the future of groups, about the future of regional groups, etc., etc. So Kev, I'm going to pick on you first. So what do you think? Are you there, Kev? He's gone. Right.
No, I'm here. Sorry, I've just faffing around there with my mute. I mean, I quite like the whole interactive piece where people have been there in various guises of the shoes that you're going to fill. So you'd be a fool not to pick up their sort of tips, pointers, that sort of stuff. So that's a win for me. Like, most definitely.
In terms of, like, obviously you're based in Inverness. I mean, is there any natural grouping of people? I know there's Visit Loch Ness. There's a couple of, you know, organisations there, but do they do anything specifically focused for your space?
Not really. However, there is some people, certainly I still need to link in with Craig. I mean, myself and Alistair are sort of teaming up a little bit, doing some stuff which Craig's is also getting involved in, which is great. So we're sort of forming our own little collective out of this group, which is fantastic. What I have noticed, certainly in the mountain biking sphere, developed mountain biking in Scotland, work in conjunction with the Northeast Adventure Tourism, so the Aberdeenshire area, and they're doing fantastically well. They're pulling a lot of people in, you know, and they're getting a lot of good stuff going, which unfortunately I don't quite fit that sort of area for here. I mean, probably I'd say Adventure North might be a good shape for me to get involved in, but they're sort of further up in the Highlands and stuff like so.
Okay.
But nothing in Inverness really. No.
Okay, Peter, you've got your hand raised there.
I think there's been a lot of benefit out of this, but there's a couple of things that we picked up on today that we could join the dots on. How about if we did a 30-second elevator pitch each explaining our business? Because I can see names on here and I don't actually know what Owen does or Ben does or anything like that. And I've made, and Craig and I have met, and Alistair and I have met regularly, but there's more people out there. So I think we can join the dots a bit by setting up that, and it's just a quick and easy thing to do.
Yeah, no, I like that idea. That's a good idea. Craig, you've usually got some good input.
Hey guys. I think, you know, the whole idea of collaborating first of all, the whole idea of meeting up and talking and sharing business ideas and thoughts, I just love that. And as soon as the first one is ready to rock, I'm there. If it needs me to put a date in the calendar and put out some invites, then so be it. You know, in the last few months, I've been involved in several different group type environments, having done some courses at Edinburgh Napier, and it's just phenomenal how much knowledge there is from so many different people, and in different lines of work. You know, we don't have to be aligned in order to be in order to share some really valuable insights from business. So I absolutely love that idea. And from an Inverness perspective, let's get something going. In terms of collaboration, again, yes, absolutely. One of the things that, you know, I've, as the guys have spoken, I've met some people and I've given a lot of thought to collaboration and the rest of it. And the one thing that I have had to sort of deal with in my mind, I haven't really spoken out loud, but is the coordination and syncing of calendars when it is as busy as what it's going to be. Because there's one thing trying to, you know, selling a product or a service and saying, yeah, we'd love to go take you guys surfing as well, because we've got some guys up in the north that will do surfing. And then we try and sell it, but we can't because maybe they're booked out. And, you know, it could be for anything, kayaking, surfing, fishing, whatever it is. So I'd like to hear from people in terms of how we could possibly coordinate that.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, actually. It's that sort of logistics, isn't it? So imagine there was a portal that had all the different availability for all the things, and depending what your consumers or what you're selling, you can then mix and match that, and then secure your availability through something. Yeah, because, you know, we were talking, it was mentioned earlier on about, you know, the whole collaboration aspect of what we, you know, getting involved, putting packages together, soft packages for the international market. And I could probably do that within our business, but then I will go out there, create a package, spend money on marketing, and then somebody wants to book something and I can't fulfill it because that person's fully booked. And this is the thing, it almost needs to be like these packages are either on the fringe of our busy period, or we need to be booking these things up front and then selling it based on the fact that, listen, Kev, I've booked you for a week-long trip in July, and I'm going to now sell this, or we're going to now sell this, however it is. But there needs to be more than just discussion in terms of like, I'm going to do this with you. No, we're going to do it together. That might be a better way to look at it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point, Craig. And I mean, there's 2 or 3 things, and I know Rini and Kate have got some points there. I mean, one of the challenges that you've got is in Inverness, you know, in the Inverness Shire area around Loch Ness, easier to get around. As we go over to Argyll and Bute, and then we go over to the Isles, it's harder to connect with one another. And if we're going up and over to Wester Ross, those present those challenges. And I think there's probably two aspects of it. One, there's just the collaboration and getting together and just having a networking session where you're just sharing ideas or just saying, you know, what the issues and things that are coming up. The next stage is we should move into the more formal collaboration, and that's where you need to, I think Fergus did a session on that, where you need to agree what the objectives of the collaboration are and what everyone's going to put into it. And and you're actually both then agreeing that, yeah, I'm going to allocate this or that time or block out that week, and then have the cutoff points if it's not sold or stuff like that. And those things don't happen overnight. You know, those are, you know, that we're on this journey, and that's why we're committing more time, you know, to keep going with you on a sort of, you know, the one-to-one basis. But we'll, you know, we can maybe look at see how we could try and do something, pull something together for a half day or whatever. Let's see what's there. Sorry.
Can I make a very quick
Stuart,
point? Sorry, Stuart. Sorry. I think Rennie's want to jump in as well. Like.
Yeah. Rennie's had her hand up for a long time.
Yeah, you go first, Rennie. Sorry, thank you.
Thanks, guys. So we run an electric bike scheme on Butte. We also have a market garden with various things that we're developing. But this year, this coming season, I'm exploring 2 collaborations with other providers on island. One is the local community forest who've procured mountain bikes. So we're looking to develop a product that's a 2-bike experience. One is about exploring the island by road on the electric bikes, and then swapping over into the mountain bikes to go and explore off-road in the forest. And I'm looking specifically at the autumn period to test that, so that it's extending our season, because I think the electric bikes will be really busy June, July, August. So it's extending the season with them, but also giving us time to think about how we're going to work together. How are the logistics going to happen? How are the payments going to be made? How are we going to market it? All of those kind of legally partnership business type decisions. So that's one, and the other one is with a local rib provider. And again, this would be a go for a scooter in the bay on a rib, and then change over to a bike and vice versa. And because we've got a couple of points, we've got Rossi and Port Ballantine are both suitable for marine leisure activities. It's then again thinking about the logistics and whether we can make a full day out of it, or whether we can have half day where there's so that we're not moving vehicles about all over the place. So there's a bit of thought to go into it, but I think it's we're having that conversation just now around the idea to look to prototype autumn of this year, and then potentially be able to go to market in a more fuller way for 2023, developing that over the winter. So for me, that's kind of it doesn't sound very entrepreneurial and let's set up and go, but as a social enterprise and with charitable objectives, I need to kind of cock Annie on these things and make sure that it's right for us. So that's how we're going about it just now. And in terms of group and networking, we are members of Argyll and the Isles Tourism Trust, and so we're also members of Visit Butte, and I have listings with various other places, some of which are good and some of which are indifferent, but I think it is important to share experience and knowledge, because there's always something you can learn. So that's my 2 cents worth.
I think those don't play it down. Those are great entrepreneurial things, and actually turning around and saying that collaboration and those things come out, and doing it as a pilot, doing it as a test in September off season, see what the reaction is to it, tweak it again and go forward. It's brilliant. And actually, geographically, it makes sense for you to be working with people in Butte, because actually you've got the challenges of, getting there, thanks to CalMac.
Yeah.
Let's not go there.
Corey had to pop out, but he said getting collaborating would be great and meeting up. So that's another positive. Do you want to jump in, Wild Harris? Kate, you've got some interesting viewpoints, I think. Do you want to come into the convo?
I just really wanted to say that it's been lovely for me to get a whole kind of idea of the context in which I'm working, because I'm just setting up a tiny little business here, which is going into its 2nd season now. And just to know that I'm doing it with the whole of Scotland has been really nice, and to benefit from all of your experiences and stuff. So as far as collaboration goes, we work very collaboratively on the islands here anyway. Most of my good friends are in a similar industry, one way or another, and I used to run the other outdoor centre, so I obviously still work very closely with them. But it's just really nice to know that we're doing the right thing. So yeah, just very supportive. Thank you.
Great, good.
Okay, supportive, thank you. There's an interesting point there from Jamie, are you still on, Jamie? And you're right, it's a Fair Harbour comment. Are you there? Is Jamie gone?
No, he's still there. He was waving. He's just on mute, I think.
I was on mute, yeah. Yeah, no, I was just a comment that I mentioned, looking through the different options on Fair Harbour. If you're working with another partner or somebody that you're looking to collaborate with, there's definitely the opportunity there just to go in manually and be able to block off your partner's availability without having to go through the phone calls and checking and whatnot, or just even having sight of it. You'd be able to have sight of it. I don't know how easy it would be to make that automatic, other than potentially one partner creating the whole product. And I don't know how it could link into the other partners, but you can certainly have the affiliate that you can have access to a partner's availability, which would at least.
Good to know that, Jamie. Didn't realise that.
Yeah. Okay. Any other sort of comments?
Kev, you were, or were you just? Have you answered? Have you given your on chat?
No, it's really just to sort of follow on from what Craig was talking about, and I kind of I feel like I kind of forgot where I was going to go with that, but Benny's kind of answered it as well. You know, in terms of the sort of time it takes to sort of collaborate properly. I mean, when I was doing my research, it's just like a wee stories was it? But when I was doing my research, sort of for 742 back end of 2018 and into 19, I was looking at like accommodation sort of providers and things like that, and certainly in the north of Scotland, they're all booked out for a year and a half in advance. You know, so it was absolutely nails, and that doesn't really lend itself to sort of saying, look, I've got this trip on at this date. You know, can I get some accommodation? And, you know, it didn't lend itself at all. So I can see certainly from a time perspective, you know, it's very, very timely. Well, it takes a fair bit of time to get that in the sort of calendar and get it blocked off and squared away. You know, and I hope we don't get to that stage again where it's almost 2 years to get available accommodation. Like, you know, so. Because you're committing funds to something you can't really necessarily guarantee, if that makes sense. You know?
That's interesting, Kev, because that's a point again that's come out in the travel trades research. You know, that what the barriers to the travel trade doing more business in Scotland, and actually it was about accommodation providers not providing FIT rates, and and also then moving on to the operators, the venture tourism operators, not having bookable products, but you know. You need the accommodation. You almost need the accommodation first for them to be able to move before they're going to move on. Yeah. So all of those things, and I think everything that's been talked about here just highlights and emphasises how under the radar the marine adventure and wildlife sector has been in Scottish tourism, and the importance it has, and that's what the strategy is hopefully going to raise and actually get more support and commitment and to help continue this type of initiative, but even more so as we move back into any sense of normality, you know, getting you together, you know, and getting.
Can I just a quick point there, Stuart, on when I've identified as an issue which I'm going to try and address. I mean, I'm a member of Visit Inverness Loch Ness, which is fantastic. I mean, they're very much like hospitality accommodation, which is great for me, you know, that sort of respects. I mean, I'm one of 3 sort of activity providers in that sort of grouping. But what I've identified, and you want to be a good member. I always want to be a good member. If I join something, I want to be a good member and help, you know, your fellow members and you know hold your end of the bargain up, basically. And what I don't like is when it comes to accommodation aspect, is when I speak to them, I say, look, can I, you know, get some accommodation? Like, well, you know, you need to pay up front type thing, or you know, trying to get that sort of relationship going is quite difficult. But then you've got booking.com, which you can cancel like 48 hours before or 24 hours before. You think, well, that's a lot easier. But then you've been a bad member, you know, so it's a bit of a catch-22, like, you know, so you want my money, but then that could essentially drag me under. But then at the same time, I could book you with no sort of risk. And then if it doesn't materialise, cancel. But then it's then passing this like back onto the accommodation provider. It's a bit of a it's quite tricky, like, so I'm trying to work a way through that with Visit Inverness Loch Ness at the moment, like.
Yeah, and that's a really great point, Kev.
I never thought of that.
Just book it through booking.com and you'll get a better rate as well.
Well, no, you actually get a better rate going direct. If you go direct, then you've got to kind of pay up front. You don't want to let the side down, you know.
Yeah,
less flexibility.
I think that's where you know, as we move forwards in terms of the thing and get you know, these, you know, many clusters or collaborative groups together, that's where you bring in the accommodation providers to listen to what you've got, and you're able to say, this is what we've got, this is what we've got, these are the things, these are the issues we need to overcome. How can we work together?
Yeah.
And because collectively, the only way Scotland's really going to grow in a responsible way and grow tourism is all working together, and not, you know, and listen, I'm an ex-hotelier, and God, we're selfish bastards. you know, I just take the money because you're only as good as your last month's results, you know, and it's 3 strikes and you could be out, you know, type of thing. And really, that's an absolutely fantastic product you're developing there about the e-bike wheelchair, because again, that's another an important market and a valuable market, and something that we should be looking to try and address quite extensively. Well done.
There's Jamie speaking to you, reaching out to you there, Kev. He's got 3 rooms on. So I think he's expecting a booking before this presentation finishes.
I've got a 16-seat barbecue hut in my garden. If anyone wants to pick that,
Dan, you've got your hand up. Sorry, do you want to jump in?
Yes, I totally feel the pain with regards to accommodation, I have to admit. I mean, I'm trying to find something for a very small group of German ladies at the moment, and it's just awful. People don't get back to you, or then indeed we do have a situation like, well, do I have to pay in advance? Okay, I have to. On booking.com, I don't have to, and she even gives me the same rate. So I think many of the accommodation providers actually haven't arrived in the 21st century yet, whereas the rest of the world has. And well, there we go. Away from accommodation, I think there's yeah, of course, Jamie, Secret Highlands, what else? I think there's a huge potential for collaboration here, and I felt that during the live workshop already, there's so many opportunities on how we can work together. My main pain, and I'm not the only one in that boat either, still is the package travel directive. I'm currently looking into a more collaborative solution of that. And if anybody's interested to join me on that journey, or at least reap the benefits once I've been through that, please let me know. And on the other hand, and actually that was during that process when I realized, when working with that group, that it's not just about the package travel directive. I mean, we've been talking about travel trade, but there's also the lovely OTAs out there, and we all know what the problem is about OTAs. They want a lot of commission, and while it's certainly still part of our marketing budget, at least that's the way I see it, it really depends. I mean, this is where economics of scale come in, because if all of us as single operators have the odd booking over the likes of TripAdvisor and so on and so forth, we can never just phone them and say, hey, look, guys, I'm making so and so much turnover over your channel, and can we discuss our commission? Is there any chance we could lower that? But of course, that's not going to happen if you're one single operator. But possibly out of all this, there may be a chance that we develop something where, as a collective, we would have a stronger voice there too. And a third thought, it even gets crazier. I mean, we've heard about DMOs, right? And Stuart, you also just mentioned how undersold and undervalued the whole adventure sector is. And I don't know, I mean, it says destination management organization. How about adventure management organizations or something along those lines? And I don't know whether the two stakeholders involved in the strategy could help us with that, so that we really develop the case for Scotland as an adventure tourism. But we not just say it's great and show nice pictures. No, hey, there's a whole bookable product behind it.
Good points, Dan, and something that it's a journey that we're on with this strategy, and we need to get ducks lined up and all sorts of things. But certainly there's an appetite to try and make things easier. In fact, Visit Scotland, we had a really good session with them and we're, you know, we've actually, I think we've managed to convince Visit Scotland that, you know, sort of the Generation Y or the millennials or the 20 to 40 age group is a good target audience for outdoor activities. Not all of it, but it's a segment, it's a demographic segment that Visit Scotland have not targeted, and we feel as though they need to be doing that to say Scotland's a great place to come because you can have, you know, really great activities and great experiences, you know, instead of going, you know, on a plane to Greece or somewhere like that. So all of those are sort of in the melting pot, Dan.
Okay, I mean, would you agree, Stuart? I think we're picking up a consensus. There's a coalition of the willing here in terms of, you know, wanting to work together, having processes that maybe enable that in some sort of structure, whether it's regionally or, you know, broader regionally in terms of geography. But I think we've got some food for thought that we can maybe pull some thoughts together.
Yeah, and we'll be exploring. We'll be feeding back to High, you know, in the sense of, you know, that our workshop activity comes to an end, you know, at the end of March. But as I said, you know, we'll keep in touch with you all in a way forward. We'll also go back to High to say, look, we need to take this on to the next stage. We need to try and see how we can help facilitate this collaboration and how it works, whether it's working with the DMOs. You know, if it's a DMO, then, and you want a collaborative group, do you have to be a member of that DMO, or does that exclude you? You know, all of those are the issues that need to be addressed. But to me, fundamentally, it's about businesses just sitting down together, having that beer or a glass of wine and saying, let's, what about this? Or, oh, I had that problem with that tour operator, or this is where I get around booking.com or TripAdvisor, you know, because I think we told the tale of when we were doing Yvonne Ferguson and I were doing a program down in the West Midlands, and there was one walking tour operator said he signed up with TripAdvisor, and he said, you know, they were taking 15% commission. And then a girl chipped in and said, oh yeah, I had a meeting with them as well. I get 5% commission. I said, how did you manage that? He said, oh, I just said to them, I said, oh no, my boss won't let me, won't stretch to 15% commission, you know, so I'm not going to be able to do it. Oh, we'll give you 5%. So there is some flexibility that's there. If you don't ask, you don't get. All they can say is no. And then it's a business decision you make. Well, I'm not going to go with TripAdvisor, I'll go with someone else. Okay, Ferg, sorry, Ferg. Just let you wind up there and then.
Yeah, I'm just going to share my last slide. I mean, I appreciate everybody's busy and I know everybody's getting ready for the season ahead. So thank you very much for your just some great insight there, and it allows myself and Stuart just to sort of pull that together into some sort of a structure in terms of future things. In terms of what's coming up next, upcoming actions, obviously there's a number of people that I have had sort of one-to-ones with, and I know a couple have had to rearrange for different reasons. I'll be continuing on with that through March and in April to catch up with everybody on the programme and just collecting that basic benchmarking information that we need. As Stuart just alluded to there, our sort of workshop programmes come to its sort of natural end in terms of the contract, but obviously maybe just watch this space to see what other things we might be able to do vis-a-vis discussions with High. The one-to-ones will continue through until this time next year. So as Stuart said, we will be keeping in touch with you. We'll continue with the WhatsApp groups. All the digital reviews that have been sort of scheduled in should be happening now, and I'll be obviously just keeping in touch with Visit Scotland in terms of where they're at with that. If anybody's got any issues with them, just let me know. But I think they've all been the ones where people wanted them are either had taken place or been programmed to take place. And then we've got an event in 2 weeks today, today in the afternoon on Wednesday. We're pulling everything together for the whole sort of group of businesses from Skye to Shetland, etc. And we're pulling together hopefully quite a good informative programme for that last 2 hours. And we're hopefully as many of you can make that. Bearing in mind, I appreciate that people are getting a bit sort of busier now in terms of your plans for the season ahead. So that's where we're sort of really at.
I mean, just to give you a bit of a, so I suppose a bit of a teaser. What we're aiming to get lined up for the workshop, or what we have, we've got Rona Wallace from Visit Scotland, who looks after the trade marketing, the travel trade side of things. So she's going to be coming to talk about what support Visit Scotland might be able to offer as we go through into 22-23. And I've also managed to get Vicky Miller, who's the Director of Marketing for Visit Scotland, and she's going to do a 20-minute, 30-minute slot on Visit Scotland's marketing plan and activity for 2022. So it lets you see what they're talking about and what they're going to be doing. I don't know what they're doing, what they're planning to do, with everything that's there. So it'll be quite interesting, but it might give you an insight and help you look at different gaps or things that are there. And then we're hoping to get a wee case study of someone that's got a tour business in Edinburgh that does Scott Beers. They do beer tours around pubs and various things, but Sarah's using data quite a bit. So she's going to give some example of that. So a bit of slightly different, a couple of different topics, but I think quite interesting that we've got Visit Scotland coming along to try and, so that you can find the routes in to try and get more business or working with them closer. So sorry, Fergus, jumped in.
That's great. A couple of wee chats have just appeared there. Dan, sorry, yeah, we will get you added to the WhatsApp group. I think Stuart might have to do that because he set that one up. Is that okay?
Yeah. You're not on it, Dan?
No, because I think at the time we didn't have his mobile number.
All right, okay.
We'll get you added in, Dan. A wee note there from Heather about the Wild About Argyll AITC. They've got a roadshow next week. So that's, maybe get involved with that. It sounds like you don't have to be a member to come along. So something happening in Argyll. And Scotland Love Local Gift Card Scheme. Again, yeah, there is a big thing about, people spending their pound locally. And there's been quite a lot of campaigns that have appeared throughout Scotland. A lot of it's been driven by the town centre initiatives and getting people to spend in local cafes and local restaurants, etc. So another good link there. There's another. Hi, can we be added to the WhatsApp group too, please? ILEC Adventures. Just let me.
Yep. We'll do that. We'll make a note. Got those notes. Slap wrists. Sorry, folks.
ILEC Adventures. Do you want to just pop your mobile number up there? I think some of the reasons we didn't have some mobiles was because the mobile reception was pretty bad. I know there's a couple of people that just don't get a signal. That's why they've not been on it. But we'll get these other ones added on. There we go. 07. Have you got that, Stuart?
07768 34067. Yep, got it.
And then Peter Smith. Peter, I think you should be on it.
I thought Peter was on it. Anyway, we'll get you on it, Peter.
Anyway, we bit of
I haven't seen any messages maybe for a long time. Has it not been used lately then?
Yeah, no, it's been there's a couple of things shoved out on it, but
sorry, ILEC Adventures, that's at 0627.
0627.
Sorry.
I could say that's why you weren't on it before, because I had the wrong number.
Because the wrong number.
I'd be telling a fib.
Okay, well, thanks for your time this afternoon. Thanks again to Yvonne for her input. That's been great. And we'll hopefully see you in a couple of weeks' time. And thanks for all your input this afternoon on this the chat we've just had. And we're obviously all wishing you all the best. If we don't see you on the 16th for a productive and successful season ahead.
Fergus, can I just, I don't want to steal your thunder, but can I just make a quick shout out point to people who might not be switched on to it, if that's all right?
Of course.
Yeah, it's Loch Ness 360 Challenge. It's going to be massive this year. Inaugural challenge is going to be in May. It's the 20th to the 22nd weekend of May. After that, it's going to be huge. People would want to do the route. What it is, it's 80 miles around Loch Ness, over 3,000 meters of climbing. You can do it in a day. You can do it over 2 days. You can do it over 4 days. However you want to do it. But the reason I'm telling you this is because it's going to be big. It's going to be it's going to garner a lot of interest. And the ball is basically starting this year. It was meant to start 2 years ago, but postponed due to COVID. But certainly, if you can get on that in some sort of capacity, whether it's offering, I don't know, like a trip, a leg, maybe from Invermorriston to Fort Augustus or something like that, bike 7 miles, but pretty easy. Then it's it's a win-win-win. Certainly for the soft tourism that Yvonne was speaking about. Just thought I'd let you know that.
No,
it's going to be huge.
That. Yeah. Excellent. Right. Brilliant. Thanks, Kev.
Thanks, Kevin. Okay, I think that's everybody. I think that's us. I think we'll stop recording, and I'll see you